All right, let's get into this. I want you to throw out everything you think you know about villains, the ones driven by simple greed or revenge. Today, we're going to build something different, a truly philosophical antagonist, a sovereign villain who doesn't just play by the rules of good and evil, but actually writes their own.
And this is how our villain sees themselves. Just think about that for a second. Not as a conqueror, not as a king, but as a guard, standing watch over a world that they believe is already dead, a civilization of values that are just rotting away. It's a chilling way to see the world, and it sets the stage for everything that's about to happen.
Yeah, we're moving way beyond your typical bad guy here. This isn't about bank robbers or power-hungry tyrants who are just breaking the existing rules. We are talking about a character who is a legislator of values. Their whole goal is to tear down the old moral order and build something entirely new in its place, to literally redefine what good and evil even mean.
And this slide really nails the core difference. A common criminal, you see, they operate inside our system of values. They break the law, sure, but they acknowledge the law exists. The sovereign villain, they're on a whole other level. They are a creator. They're totally autonomous, operating above morality as we know it, forging their own laws from scratch.
So let's give this new kind of villain a name. We'll call them the Herald of the Great Twilight. And their mission? It's not to save society. In fact, it's pretty much the opposite. They look at the world, see it in its long twilight, and their goal is to speed up the sunset. They believe that only from the total ashes can a new, truly sovereign kind of life finally emerge.
So how do you build a character like this? Well, you really need two key ingredients. The first one is their vision. It's their why. And this comes straight from the deep, profound nihilism of Nietzsche's soothsayer, this unshakable belief in the total emptiness of the modern world.
At the absolute heart of our villain's mind is this doctrine of emptiness. Think about it. They look at our civilization, everything we've built, our morals, our beliefs, and they see it all as a sham, a hollow, bankrupt company that's been running on fumes for centuries.
And this quote, wow, it just perfectly captures that feeling, doesn't it? It's not anger, it's just this deep cosmic exhaustion. For our villain, humanity is just stuck on a loop, repeating the same meaningless cycles over and over. And in that kind of tired, worn-out soil, nothing new or truly valuable can ever grow.
So what's the plan? What's the goal here? It's not to fix this broken system. It's to force humanity to look in the mirror and face its own failure. Our villain sees modern people as inverse cripples, just a collection of random parts, not whole human beings. And their role, as they see it, is to be the roaring wind that shatters the old coffins of tradition, forcing the dead to either wake up for real or just be swept away for good.
Okay, so that's the vision, that's the why. But a vision is useless without a strategy, right? You need a how. And for this, our villain gets really clever. They adopt the cunning, poisonous method of what Nietzsche called the tarantula preachers.
And this is where their genius becomes truly diabolical. See, our villain actually despises the idea of equality. They believe life needs hierarchy, height, and steps to grow. But, and this is the key, they weaponize the idea of equality. They know that a lot of the time the call for equality is really just a mask for hidden vengeance. And they use this tarantula poison to turn society's own ideals against itself. And here's their four-step playbook. It's brilliant, in a terrifying way. First, preach equality to light the fuse. Second, that preaching incites social unrest, which is fueled by all that hidden desire for revenge. Third, they expertly weave all this conflict into a giant web that traps everyone. And finally, they provoke an all-out fight for survival. The goal isn't justice, remember. It's to create a brutal test, a crucible, where only the strongest-willed can possibly survive.
Okay, so now it's time to put the two pieces together. We're going to take the soothsayer's nihilistic vision and fuse it with the tarantula's deceptive strategic method. This is the moment our sovereign villain is truly born.
This table just lays it out perfectly. The soothsayer gives us the why. The world is empty, it needs to be cleared away. The tarantula gives us the how. Use the poison of vengeful equality to spark chaos. And the result, the what, is our sovereign villain's ultimate purpose, to accelerate the twilight of civilization through masterful, amoral manipulation.
And this synthesis creates a being with some truly terrifying traits. They are completely self-law-giving. They are their own moral compass.
They see good and evil not as some cosmic truth, but just as tools in a toolbox, to be used whenever needed. And everything they do is a pure expression of their own internal drive, what Nietzsche called the will to power.
But wait, there's one final piece to this puzzle. One last element that makes this villain so unique and, frankly, so disturbing. It's not just about what they do, or even why they do it. It's about how they feel about it all.
So after all this deep philosophy, all this complex strategy, what is the one thing that really separates them from every other bad guy you've ever read about or seen on screen? What's going on inside their head? There it is. That's the answer. Think about it. Nearly every other villain is driven by resentment, by revenge, by some old wound. The sovereign villain? They are way past that. Their destructive actions aren't a bitter reaction to some past pain. They are a creative act, fueled by a powerful and deeply unsettling joy. And this quote just lands the final, chilling point. To them, watching the old world burn, tearing down all those hollow traditions, it's not some grim duty they have to perform. It's a game. It's as light-hearted and as joyous as a child playing with blocks. And that right there, is a truly terrifying thought.
So we end up here. We've built a villain who sees the world as empty, who uses society's highest values against it, and who finds pure joy in its destruction. And that leaves us with one final, haunting question. If this villain is right, if good and evil are really just tools, just weapons in some grand cosmic game, then what, if anything, is actually worth fighting for? Now that's something to think about.